they're doing with their products to help stroke victims in rehabilitation. Welcome back, Scott.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I feel you've been here maybe as many times as I have, right? But that's fine. So let's do some catching up. So we've seen you over the years with different products, and they're really designed to help people who've gone through a stroke through rehabilitation. So let's just talk about some of those products you already have.
So what?
The products you already have, like the glove and SmartBoard.
We started with the Smart Glove, which is our flagship device and software that actually works on the rehabilitation for stroke survivors, like hand motion, and then we branch out to the like the fine motor skill with the Smart Pegboard, and then we even went up to the brain, like for the Alzheimer and dementia population, it's Smart Cognition, and we have the Smart Board, which is meant to be for the arm and shoulder. So
and it's something I think we could talk about half an hour for each of these products, but something not to leave out is the fact that you kind of have a gamification of rehab going on. So the Smart Board has kind of like a handle that you grab, and you are like doing an action like pouring a glass of wine repeatedly, and the Neofect Smart Board. But also, you have another interesting product we saw last year that actually dealt with people who might have slight paralysis or some paralysis in their hand and help them regain mobility. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So over the course of years, we realized that for some people, rehabilitation is luxury. So there was a lot of voice of customers asking for something that actually can functionally help them. So we came out with the Neo and prototype was, shown at CNET Live 2 years ago, 2 CESs ago, and thanks to all your support and everything, it gained the awareness, and then we started talking about it, and we finally made the the actual delivery in December, right before the Christmas, for people who've been waiting for almost a year. So it actually flexes your finger, so that you can actually grab object or open the door or grab the toothbrush and things like that.
And it's shaped a bit like an archer's glove, right? 3 fingers, and there's actually little wires that run in to pull the fingers back, or that. You control that with this unit as well, right?
Yeah. So here's the Bluetooth remote control, and you can actually use it for grip or release. And then once you wear it by 3 fingers, and then it just remotely works out pretty well.
Very cool. Now, I can't help but you notice the orange shirt you're wearing. I don't know if you could talk to me about this orange shirt.
Yeah, so we are actually running a stroke awareness campaign called the Power of 60 Seconds.
The Power of 60 Seconds, okay.
So apparently, stroke always has been the one of the major, leading cause of death in our country.
Yeah, I believe the statistic is there's a stroke every 40 seconds. So by the time we finish this segment, unfortunately, probably have been at least a dozen people who've had a stroke.
Absolutely. So I think there's a lot of things you could do if you see anyone, getting a stroke within the 60 seconds. And also you can learn a lot about how to rehabilitate themselves. So we are running the campaign of the Power of 60 Seconds on our Facebook. So every share that, any viewer makes, we actually donate, a certain amount of money, towards the stroke research. Because we would love to connect with the community. Our slogan is inspire hope, and we would like to inspire hope by donating actual financial means towards the towards the people who are in need.
That sounds wonderful, and hopefully that does help break some of those barriers down and give people who are helping people through a stroke or recover from one a bit more funds to do that. Yeah. Now, let's talk about the 2 new products you have. So the first new product we're going to talk about is actually an app that you have called Neofect Connect. So explain what Neofect Connect is and what I would use it for.
Yeah, so Neofect Connect is an app that literally connects the stroke survivors with their clinicians. So over the course of time, we've been getting a lot of feedback that there are things because our software is 100% run by artificial intelligence for the home users. But definitely we realize that there are things that AI can really solve, and which is the human touch, motivation, encouragement. And this is always directly related to the engagement and, just motivation towards the stroke rehabilitation. So we came up with the tele-rehab portal that our users or even like just like non-users like can meet with the like therapists, and they learn more about how to rehabilitate themselves. And then like we're actually studying with our own product, because like there's a lot of things like they can learn about like how to do things, and then more importantly like, why they do this. Because a lot of times, we realize that training, education, these are the main contributors to not working on stroke rehabilitation. Because like a lot of people just like end up watching TV on their couches after stroke, and that was like completely came out like to our surprise. So by providing the community with the new means of like being able to meet with the clinicians, but at the same time being able to get a lot of like materials to read, so that they can know why they're doing this and how they're doing this, what they can expect. I think it's going to definitely make some impact.
I mean, I think my Google Pixel phone, I can tap on the button and get a person to help me through setting a phone up. I would think if I'm recovering from a stroke and I want to go through rehab and have one of your devices, I would want that help too. And also that kind of accountability. So the video we see on this tablet here is actually a pre-recorded video of one of those chats happening, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also besides, you can actually like check your own progress. So I think one of the most important thing is like you get motivated, you get more excited, you get more engaged like when you see where you are. But at the same time, if you actually check what you've been doing and then how much progress you've been making through the app, then that's very rewarding.
Right.
That's all we need. So like we actually are going to put that piece into the app.
Okay, so one of the other new devices you have is actually a device, and why don't we have Denise come out here, and it's called Smart Balance. Now, I think the way it was described to me is, imagine if you had like Dance Dance Revolution to help with leg rehabilitation. Can you walk us through what Smart Balance is and what are some of the things it can do?
Sure, yeah. Again, like Smart Glove and Board and all other products of ours, and we use the game contents. And then you're actually playing games, but at the same time, you're going through the rehabilitation process. Because like when it comes to stroke, it's all about neuroplasticity. Your brain gets to rewire itself, and then you learn more. So thankfully, we've been getting a lot of customer feedback, asking for something to work on their, posture and the gait. So this year, like we launched the Smart Balance, like for the very first time, with the beginning of the CES. So it's like you're playing games like Dance Dance Revolution, but you're actually working on your balancing and wrist stabilization.
And this is not necessarily I'm going to go out and buy this and bring this home with me, but it's going to be something that a clinic might buy to use with their patients or helping with people going through recovery.
Absolutely, yeah. This is going to be first used, in the clinic. And then we got a lot of opinions from the clinicians. But the way we do usually is we get into the clinic first, and then we learn a lot, and then we learn a lot about how they use and what we can improve and everything. And I mean, you have a lot of assumptions, but you need to validate the assumptions. So unlike the any other gaming software, there's a lot of barriers that you can only get it through clinicians. You can only get it through patients. So once we get the check marks in those boxes, then we finally take it to home, and so that we can maximize the satisfaction.
That's amazing. And so like another feature, I see she has like a sort of a chest strap around her with like a sensor on it. What's that all about?
Yeah, so that's actually one of our killer feature. But what that does is that not only the machine, our device actually understands and then checks the progress on your gait. Because if your posture is really imbalanced like this, then it's a lot less useful. So we need to make sure that patients are actually using it properly. So we came up with this motion sensor, which actually evaluates the posture. So if you're kind of leaning forward too much or wobbly, but it tells you that clinicians can know that we need to kind of work on your posture too.
Well, very good, Scott. I'm so glad you came back to share your new devices with us and catch up with us. And I hope that people can check out the 60-second campaign as well.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming and talking with us today, all right?
Thank you so much.